Now, let's also talk about rectification coverage, because this is a new coverage, and I think, again, for design professionals, a coverage that will help them expand their practice and take a leadership role in design build. Kevin?
Yeah. I mean, from the standpoint of the pre-claims assist, that's a situation where you have something separate from a claim that you want to have a discussion around. Rectification expense coverage is truly a situation that, for all intents and purposes, would result in a claim, provided that there was a third party that made that claim against you. So the goal here is recognizing that both architects and engineers want to have the flexibility to take on perhaps some construction exposure either through subcontract or through a joint venture relationship, or even for a few select firms having that ability in-house. And the rectification expense coverage is really designed to address a unique situation where the insured and the contractor, to the extent that they're two separate entities, are responsible for the project site. And in the course of the project, they identify a design error, a design issue to the project that needs to get resolved. This coverage provides an avenue for the insured to go directly to CNA and the claim specialist to have a discussion around the issue, the problem, and what needs to be rectified to move forward on the project. It's a fairly unique coverage, and I mentioned before in the last webinar that it is not brand new to the policy. It is something that's been available in the marketplace, but primarily limited to very large, the largest of the large firms, and on an individual basis by endorsement. This is really the first extension where we want to broadly provide that in recognition that services, requests by owners are being driven more and more towards a lean construction or a design build or other format, and this coverage will help facilitate what we see as a particular issue when they're involved in those types of projects.
So when an insured senses that there's some design defect circumstance that might be on this design build project for which they're responsible, they contact the CNA claims specialist, right? Usually if they have to do that relatively quickly. The CNA claims specialist works with them, looks at what actions the firm wants to take to minimize any potential liability arising out of that circumstance, and then works with the policyholder to come up with a solution that makes sense. Obviously, there's some emergency situations where that kind of discussion with the claim specialist before action is taken would not be necessary. But in most cases, it's really working with the CNA claim specialist on when you're involved as a lead on this design build project to try to head off the potential claim, because obviously a firm could try to ignore it and go ahead and assume they're going to get sued later on, or perhaps they might get away with it. But it makes far more sense if you're going to be in design build, if you're going to preserve your reputation, to solve those problems quickly and to get the kind of assistance from experts in this area that's available through the CNA claims specialist.